All right, Wolfpack Nation, we are back for part 2, y'all, of our interview with the GOAT herself from NC State Gymnastics, Emily Shepard, y'all. If you haven't checked out part 1 yet, make sure to go and do that first and foremost, y'all, as we talk about her journey to NC State, talk about, her decision to, hang up her leotard for last time, which is still brings a tear to my eye even thinking about it. But Emily, looking back at the season, I mean, what an unbelievable year. I mean, I came out and said before this season, I mean, I don't know how much you watch Tuffy Talk stuff, but I mean, I came out vividly, and Lindsay will back me on this. I said, this will be the greatest NC State Gymnastics team there ever was. It will be. And and I stand by that. I mean, 3 of the top 4 team scores of all time came from this season. Didn't break the highest one, which, to be honest with you, looking back at that team scores that has the highest one, I don't know. I honestly don't know how they got that score. I mean, just saying, like, that was a huge outlier. You know what I mean? But hey, you know, sometimes you feeling it. Sometimes you got the right judge. So we'll leave it at that. But I have no doubt saying that. And I mean, it all really kind of came, in my opinion. Like, I got to talk about the ACC tournament for 2 reasons. One, I mean, y'all scores were ridiculous. I mean, getting above a 197.5 and in a neutral site where you had 4 judges. I mean, y'all were on that night. It was crazy. I mean, again, like I always joke with I coach Landis. I'm like, man, what do they get y'all? What do they feed y'all before these events? Like, to make y'all go like that. And she's like, well, I can't give the recipe, otherwise everybody would do it. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I mean, kind of talk to me, Emily, about that experience. Like, what made you guys so successful that day? And talk to me about the environment, which, in my opinion, looking around, I'm sitting there going, how do more teams not want to be a part of this? Like, it was an elite feeling. I've never been in a place where, I mean, everybody was on the edge of their seat, and it was filled. So, I mean, talk to me about that whole day in general.
Yeah, that was probably the best meet of my life. Like, it was just so much fun. It was so intense. It was so competitive. And obviously it helped that we won. Yep. But I think, like you said, to be able to get a 197.5, I don't remember exactly what our score was. But to get that away was just really cool. I think this whole season was really cool to be getting 197 pluses because it wasn't until senior night last season, so my first senior year, my senior season, I remember just crying tears of joy when we hit the 197 mark, and then this year we were able to do it numerous amount of times. And so that is something we talked about just kind of at the beginning of the year, was last year we were able to hit that, but now let's make that our normal, and just we don't have to get 197s every single time, but let's ride that fine line so that we can that can be our average. And that's what we did. I think our NQS was a 197 something by the end of the season.
Yes, of course I'm trying to find it, but we finished ranked 16th. So you got to imagine that we were in the 197s if you were ranked as high as 16. So so I think that that was just really cool to see. And then the meet specifically itself, I feel like we were just on I think overall, Wolfpack Nation was just on some crazy run from basketball to gymnastics to everything. And so we were joking around with the why not us on our team, which I said it was just kind of funny because in basketball's eyes, it makes sense. They were a little more the underdogs, but I was in our eyes, we're number one, we're winning this thing. And so I thought it was just kind of funny. But honestly, I think after vault's not our biggest scoring event, and we started on it, so I know we weren't in the lead, but I don't think that shook us at all because we knew that was kind of our lowest scoring event ish. And so just moving to bars and being able to carry that energy was just electric. And I think after beam, I think this is one of the that was one of our best beam teams of the season. But after beam, I don't look at the scores. I do not look at the scores. I don't want to know if it's close. I don't want to know if it's not close. I don't want to know. But I just had a feeling that we were so close. And so I was just okay, calm down. I feel I knew we had almost won it, but I was okay, just stick to it, calm down. And
in our little like huddle we do before an event. It was before our last event on floor, and I remember my teammate Meg was like, she was floor alternate, so she was in the huddle with us, and she was like, I just have to say something real quick. And she was like, it doesn't matter if we're in last place or first place right now, just compete these routines how you always do, and we're good. And so it was just like crazy, and I'll just never forget that.
Aww. So at what moment did you like know that we won? Like, you know, like at some point, you know, you had, and because you're not last, Chloe's last. So like after you did your floor, did you look up at the scores?
Yeah. Okay. I had a feeling after my floor routine, and so I just kind of told myself, like, you just have to hit your routine. And once I did that, after my routine, I looked at the scores, and then when I saw it switch over, I just cried. And Chloe had to go. I kind of like being in that fifth spot on floor because I feel like it's put me in that situation a few times. Cool. And I enjoy it. Especially
because I mean, if you hadn't, since nobody had fallen to that point, that even though Chloe ain't falling, but I mean, you know, if worse comes worse, I mean, you know, you're not going to go back any, you know, which is a good feeling. So, but I mean, it was funny. I still remember I was pretty much standing beside one of the gymnastics camera guys the entire time. And I remember we were on uneven bar, so the second event, and Clemson was on beam. And we were, of course, you know, because the whole time, you know, I mean, and Pitt and UNC were pretty impressive actually at the tournament. I mean, in terms of, they did better than I thought they were going to. And so about most of the time I was watching Clemson. And when I saw Clemson that their second gymnast fall, I let nudge. I said, it's over. He was like, what do you mean? I'm like, Clemson just had two people fall on beam. Like, they ain't catching us. And unless we just absolutely just flop it, Pittsburgh and UNC ain't going to. But I mean, we're on fire right now. I mean, like, look at Vault, look at what we've done on even bar so far. We're on fire. We're not losing this thing. So I honestly, like, even before the halfway point of the meet, knew it was over, which is a crazy feeling. Because I mean, I was nervous because that last week for Clemson, they scored like a high 197 team score that week, and so they were on fire. I mean, we had kicked their butts on senior night, you know, at home. So I was like, you know, is there a little bit of that fire coming back? But, you know, it didn't happen. We held it off, which is awesome. So, but I do want to ask you your thoughts, though, about Clemson. You know, obviously their first year, and they had a lot of support for sure, which I feel like, anybody, you know, first team, and they're doing really, really well, top 25 right out of the bank. I mean, you know, it's going to interest people, no doubt about it. But, you know, in terms of competing against Clemson, going to Clemson, things like that, was it what you expected, or was it a little bit of a shocker? Like, whoa, okay, Clemson's actually better than I thought. Yeah,
I think that it was really impressive of them to come out and just have that good of a season for their first year. And I think we expected them to be good, but not that good. And so I just think it made us work harder because not that we were like, oh, we have this in the bag from the beginning of the season, but we didn't think that they would be specifically the team we'd be competing with the most. And so I just think it made us work harder, and being able to go to their school and compete was just really cool. I think I love going to different arenas and competing, and it's not like basketball or football where you're necessarily being booed and everyone doesn't like you. Like, people are pretty supportive in gymnastics. You have some programs here or there, but I think overall everyone was very supportive, and so it was just really cool to experience that.
What's your favorite ACC venue to visit based on like the surrounding location, the people, you know, how nice the gym is, all factors included? Which one was your favorite?
I would say Clemson, just because it was new, it was exciting, there was the most fans at it. It was a very anticipated meet, and so I think that was really cool, because I think we kind of went in as the underdogs on that meet and came out not the underdogs for the rest of the season. And so
hey, let's go.
So that was kind of fun.
Yeah. And then you also talked about in part one, again, if you guys haven't seen that, go check that one out first. But in part one, you talked about when you were picking colleges, looking at colleges, you didn't necessarily want to go to a top 10 program. You wanted to go and leave a program better than you found it, and maybe leave it a top 10 program. And we saw NC State entering and climbing through the rankings this season, ending at number 16. How did it feel to see that level of national recognition?
Yeah, it felt good. I feel like people were talking about us this year, and I think it was in combination with just the first season of ACC, but I think we just deserved it. We had the difficulty, we had the support, we had just the consistency, and as a team, we just like really stepped up this year, and so I think it was just really deserved.
Yeah, you definitely had the support. Absolutely. Like Wolfpack Nation students were all about it, especially this year. I know I showed up for Taylor Swift night to cover it and expected to get my t-shirt. People have been wrapped around the building for hours to get their shirts and watch the meet. How did it feel to really see students rally around a sport that maybe isn't traditionally a big sport that students follow?
Yeah, it felt amazing. I think we were in vault warm-up, since we warm up all the events and then the fans come and we compete all the events, and we had just finished vault warm-up, and Chance, our SID, took a video of the line outside and came and showed us while we were about to go to bars, and it kind of just fired us up. It made us really excited, so I think it's cool to see. I think we had some other home meets that were like Super Bowl Sunday and just like some hard weekends to get students to, but overall I feel like we really had their support this season, and it was really cool just to see it. I think the pink meet, we had the guys that were able to paint their chest to go pack. Yes. We had that last year too, and so I think that's been a fan favorite and it's really fun. They were into it. They were like down on the seats on the floor, and they would come stand like right next to the bars or right next to the beamer floor and just like go crazy when we landed, and it was really cool to see.
Yeah. So Emily, at NC State, within your career, you've been able to achieve many different milestones, whether that's breaking the single meets all around record at a 39.75. You also have a career high total program record of 54 9.9 scores in your career. You're a 3-time conference gymnast of the year. You also had 7 straight ACC gymnastics gymnast of the year of the week awards this season alone. Again, I could go on and on here, and also you're actually the only ACC gymnastics to be all conference in all 4 events. So, all that list being provided, which achievement are you the most proud of on that individual level?
That's a good question. I would say the school all-around record, because I feel like it was brewing for a while. That is just something I really just kept working towards, because I knew I was close to it so many times. I don't exactly remember what it was before. I think it was I think I had gotten
what the record was before you?
Yeah.
It was a 39.55.
Yeah, so I think it was a 5.5, and I had gotten a 39.5 many times, and a 39.525. And after all those meets, I was like, if I would have just done one thing a little better, then that record would have been mine. And so to see it just finally come together, and I think looking back on all my years, I was like, I really wanted it this year since I hadn't got it any of the other years I competed all around. And it was cool to see, not only did I just barely break the record, I kind of blew it out of the water. And so that was, it just made the wait worth it, I guess.
Well, and just to kind of just solidify that, looking at the individual all around records, there's 3 people tied with 39.55. There's 4 people tied with 39.525, 1 person 39.5, 39.475. So AK, every single 0.025, there's somebody there. But then there's 39.55, and now there's Emily Shepard, 39.75, a whole 2/10 higher than anybody else has ever done it. So it was just honestly hilarious to me how I was having that conversation with your dad right before that event about how, you should be considered the greatest of all time. And then you go and do that where you're 2/10 higher than anybody who's ever done it. And it's that right there by itself is goatable right there, much less being a 3-time conference gymnast of the year, which is incredible within itself.
I like that term, goatable.
That's goatable. That's goatable.
Yeah,
goatable. Yeah, trademarked by Tuffy Talk there. So, no. But yeah, Emily. So, kind of looking back at this year, and how you guys went undefeated in the ACC, which I mean is some not easy whatsoever, because again you're having to see every single team twice, which is tough for sure. And then also you guys had some, pretty tough competition, going against Penn State, going against Florida, things like that. Kind of thinking about this season overall and is like, how it ended up, at NCAA's, like, there's no doubt, obviously, from even just talking to you so far, like you're just such a glass half full person, which I love. I'll be honest with you in a little bit with the NCAA's, I was like, a little bit there with NCAA's that we couldn't finish better. But I know that, just like you said, it's just sometimes things go your way, sometimes it didn't. And just unfortunately that one meet, it didn't go our way. But, do you kind of feel like that there's a little piece there that was left, or looking at it all still you're saying, no, I'm very, very thrilled and satisfied with what was done this season?
Before we continue, I want to take a quick second to tell you about our sponsor, Flatlands Jessup Insurance Group, that has your whole world covered, with agents in 5 offices throughout Eastern North Carolina to help you decide how much coverage you need, offering policies for home and auto, recreational vehicles, commercial, crop, health, life, and employee benefits. They are able to combine options to find a comprehensive solution that works for you. Flatlands Jessup protects the things you love so you can spend less time worrying and more time enjoying them. Find them on Facebook and Instagram at Flatlands Jessup. You can also visit their webpage at www.flatlandsjessup.com. So please make sure to go and check them out.
Yeah, I don't think I would change a thing. It wasn't our day, it wasn't our best meet, but it's okay. Like,
it's okay. I like
in reality, it would have took us. In reality, it would have only taken us probably to the next round, and I just think that we didn't let it take away from anything we accomplished this season, and we just celebrated. I think we were still able to just celebrate a great season. It wasn't our day. We just said that. Kim kept saying that to us, and I think we all just really felt that way. It wasn't like we went up and had a million falls. It just, we weren't getting the best scores. We didn't have our best meet. Like, it wasn't the cleanest gymnastics we've ever done. We still hit our routines though, so can only do so much.
That's right. I like it. And then, go ahead, Lindsay.
Go ahead.
Nope, you go.
And then what's next for you? You said you're hanging up the leotard, you graduate in a few weeks. What's your next step in your personal life now that you're, leaving gymnastics behind?
Yeah, good question.
Yeah, I think I don't really have an answer to your question because I'm still trying to figure it out myself.
Okay.
But I just really wanted to let myself focus on this last season of gymnastics and taking it all in and just being in the moment where my feet are. And then same with these past couple weeks since season has ended, just focusing on graduating, putting all my focus and energy into school and just enjoying my last couple weeks of college. And so I think that there's a few things in the works, but I'm not going to let you know just quite yet, but I'm sure if you keep following along, you'll see.
We'll circle back in a few months then.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna say like that, Emily, you know where my mind is going, and I mean, don't tease me with that you might stick around, okay? But, Anyway, though, I guess we'll leave that there. But yeah, but that's exciting though. I did want to ask you as well earlier. So you had mentioned how you didn't want to go to a top 10 school. Did you have options? Were you being talked to by top 10? Programs of coming to their schools?
Yeah, a mix. I feel like I was kind of a late bloomer in high school. I had a breakout season or meet, you could say. I was kind of injured throughout my junior season, and then I was able to compete at like state and regionals, it goes like state, regionals, nationals in club. And so I had a really good regional meet, and then that following week, I just had college coaches like flooding in, wanting to come visit me. I had them visiting me. I was going to visit them. And I remember I had like a handful of visits planned. I came out to NC State, and I committed. And I was like, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to cancel these visits.
Nice.
I loved it. When I had talked to some other universities, I just didn't feel as wanted, and I didn't feel like I saw that dream or that vision at them.
Yep.
And I came to NC State, and the second I got on campus, the coaches were hugging me, and they just did such a great job of making me feel welcomed and making me feel like this is a place where I could make all those dreams come true. Because that's something I communicated to them. I was like, I want to compete all around. I want to build this program. And so I think that we saw eye to eye on that, and here we are 5 years later. It all worked out.
Well, I love it. And you know, especially too, like, you know, it excites me, just like you said. I mean, the fact that looking at next season, you know, how, I mean, it's not going to have it's not going to have Emily Shepard on it for sure, which is definitely going to make a difference. But I mean, I've talked to my wife multiple times, seeing, like, you know, with the amount of youth that we have that really was strong this year, combined with, you know, the potential of some gymnasts we might get back for another year next year, potentially, you know, we'll see. You know, I mean, it could be a really strong year again next year. So I'm looking forward to it. But will we be seeing you at some NC State meets? Will you still stay maybe local, or do you think you'll head back, you know, closer to your hometown in Kansas? You know, where will we see Emily Shepard?
Yeah, well, my family moved to San Antonio, Texas.
Oh, okay.
The end of my sophomore year, so I probably won't be going back home.
Okay, here we go.
There's a good chance of me sticking around, so you know I'll be at all the meets if I am.
Let's go. All right. So with that being said, Emily, so as I told you before the show, my wife had had one question in particular, and I've actually picked one fun question as well that I wanted to ask. So during your time at NC State, your 5 years, you've you know, been able to go to many different venues for sure, and there's one that was highlighted you know, sometime back as, you know, a favorite. But what would you say your favorite venue you've ever competed at is, whether that's ACC or not?
Yeah. Okay, I have 3 answers to your question.
Okay.
There's going to be Reynolds, because I just think that we have the coolest arena out of all of them. Okay. So I think it's cool to go see other venues, but sometimes we'll see the other teams in the cold tubs after a meet, and every time we've talked to anyone else, they're like, we loved competing here, it's so cool. And so I just think that, like, who doesn't love a home meet, you know?
Sure.
And then I think that the ACC venue and environment, being on podium, being like a little bit local, but not being, that was like a neutral site that wasn't like
Greensboro.
Someone
Is that what
else's.
you're talking about? Competing at Greensboro.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Greensboro. I think that was just really cool. I think that they should continue to keep ACCs at a neutral site, because that has been frustrating. When I was a part of the Eagle, sometimes if like certain teams got some home loving,
Sure,
depending on all of that.
Yeah.
But, and then my last one, I think that I was able to go to nationals my sophomore year in some Dickies Arena. I mean, who doesn't want to go to nationals, you know? I think that.
I'm actually surprised, Emily, because I thought that, you know, the consensus of what has been the favorite so far, which has been Auburn, would have been one of them for sure. But I mean, I think, you know, from talking to, I mean, obviously the students just would get crazy into it, and I think there was also to it in a little added electricity, because they had the Olympic all-around champion.
Oh yeah, Suni Lee.
Suni Lee. That's right,
I
Suni
think
Lee. Yeah.
that was a cool one to experience. But honestly, I like when I can kind of see my family and interact with them a little during the meet, and they like tucked them up in the corner in the back where we could barely see them. So I didn't like that.
I gotcha. And then my wife's question was, so it's kind of a two-sided one. So, you know, if you were, you know, told, like, okay, you can compete in gymnastics, but you can only compete in one event only, which one would it be? And then the opposite, which is you can compete in 3, but you have to leave one out. Which one are you leaving out? So which one is the one that I am going to, and which one is the one that I'm leaving out? So the 4.
Okay, so the one I'm leaving out is vault.
Really?
Me and vault did not have a good relationship.
Interesting.
That one caused me the most mental strain,
Interesting.
I will say.
Okay.
And then, I love the other 3 so much.
Okay.
I don't know if I could pick just one.
Yeah.
I think I get the most nervous for beam, but I like the nerves, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like more rewarding when you hit a beam routine, because I feel like the most nervous for it.
Yeah.
Floor is just fun, especially when you end on it.
Yeah.
And then bars, I just like how unique bars is. I feel like a lot of people on our team don't even train bars. I feel like that's the hardest event for people to pull together. So being able to do that event just makes, I don't know how unique it is. I really enjoy that aspect of it, because not a lot of people on our team even want to do it or like to do it. And so we kind of feel cool, our little bar team.
So that's a great way to answer around it, Emily, but still doesn't answer my question. Which one are you sticking with forever? Which one is the only one you can do? Give me one.
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, all right.
I can't pick. I can't pick. I love them all.
Fair enough. All right.
I pick all around.
There we go. Okay, all around. There we go. Good answer. All right, Lindsay, you got anything before we wrap up here?
I would just say, just to wrap it up, what was your favorite NC State Gymnastics memory? And we'll leave it at that.
Look it.
I'm gonna say winning ACCs, because that was my first conference trophy that we were able to get, and I was like, there's no way. I was here for 5 years and we didn't win one. So like I said before, with weight, it was worth the wait.
But would you say the tournament or the regular season was better?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay. Well, here.
I don't know. That's a good question.
The combo.
Let me kind of talk my thoughts. So for me, it kind of is a little bit of a conversation of like, do you like a Super Bowl format better or like a NHL? AKA like regular season, it's more of whoever's the best will eventually work its way out. But for me, I like the tournament style because you only get one shot at it. Like if you have an off day, then you ain't winning it. But if you like, you know, every dog can have his day, and so to me, it was the most impressive that you guys went undefeated, and so every single one of those teams had their eye right on NC State, like guaranteed. Nobody else was thinking about anybody else besides NC State, guaranteed, because they knew that we were the team to beat. And so for us, even still, with all that pressure, with the fact that it was, you know, a sold out lower bowl, you know, and you know, all the eyes on you, that we still put in a 197.55, which if I'm actually looking here, it was the second highest, barely behind our Clemson meet, which we got 197.575. Like, to me, that tournament one's got to stand out, in my opinion, because, I mean, again, not only just all that pressure, but also, too, with the fact that, again, it was a one shot, even one time only, where everybody was even, nobody still could beat us. That's pretty impressive. So, now with that being said, you have full right to say regular season and give me a reason why, but that's my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, I feel like it can go both ways, because I think it says a lot to be able to compete a whole season and go not have anyone else beat you. Sure. So I feel like that takes a lot more work, because think of how many meets that took. But I think when it comes down to it, that's just like the nature of competing for championships, is like it's who's going to be on that day and who wants it on that specific day. And so I feel like it just depends how you look at it.
Absolutely. Nope, that makes sense.
Like who can bring it multiple times, and then who can bring it on this one specific day.
Very good point. So, well, first of all, Emily, just want to say thank you so much again, you know, for you, for Lex, you know, for I'll go ahead and give Chloe, you know, which, you know, we'll put that there. We'll put a pause on that. But all the seniors, you know, just the changeover y'all made for this program is unmeasurable, no doubt about it. I mean, you know, now, you know, finally getting that taste of that national, you know, competition, you know, getting the students even involved, which I think is kind of a huge turning point, because I think if you can get the students involved and, you know, following the program, that's where you really start to, you know, get towards that main level of, you know, all the other sports NC State, which luckily enough, I mean, I'm sure you're not against it. I mean, at NC State we have so many great sports that we can follow, and it's a great thing now we have gymnastics that's a part of that list. So but, you know, we appreciate you deciding to come to NC State and leaving your mark, and leaving, in my opinion, is the greatest to ever do it. and arguably, I don't know how anybody could argue otherwise, and I don't see that being broken anytime soon. But so thank you, Emily, for your time. Thank you so much for what you did at NC State, and would love to see you stick around if things work out correctly.
All right. Well, thank you for having me, and just thank you for all the support you guys had on just my journey and our team's journey this year and all in the past.
No, glad to do it. So yeah, Wolfpack Nation, make sure again, y'all, if you want to stay, in touch and, following Emily again, make sure to go down in the description below, whether you're listening or watching on YouTube, and make sure to go follow Emily on all of her social media. And then for NC State Gymnastics, y'all, make sure to go and just again, y'all, support this team. This team is on a upward road, and we're not stopping now. The job Coach Landris and this coaching staff have done should not go without being said, for sure. And there's no way we're going to stop this anytime soon. So make sure again, y'all, to go and support this team next year. As again, it should be an exciting one for sure, and we're excited for it. For us, Wolfpack Nation, if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. And if you enjoyed this conversation, if you love NC State Gymnastics, leave a like, and also make sure to give us a follow as well, y'all, on Tuffy Talk now on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, y'all. But we'll see y'all soon. We appreciate y'all, and go Pack, y'all.